this hour has 22 minutes. With J.B. Dixon, Paulie McGuire, Frank McMillan, and Sidney Zabistinchek.
In the month of October, Statistics Canada reported 30,000 jobs vanished in this country. In the month of October, the man they call Ravine toured extensively throughout this country. Are these two seemingly unrelated facts linked in some way? We thought so. When contacted, Ravine, the impossibilist, had this to say about that.
It was caused by the Natural Law Party, inadvertently. Doug Henning was bouncing up and down in a yogic fervor. He bounced too high, hit his head on the ceiling, fell to the floor, forgot his mantra, and jumped up and screamed, "Que pasa? Que pasa?" which is Spanish, and all the jobs instantly went to Mexico.
As the great impossibilist, can you personally do anything to help kickstart Canada's listless economy?
I could help to keep all the money in the country. I will give my great test where I have the people lock their hands together right across Canada. Then they will not be able to spend it, and they'll have tremendous wealth.
Gee, you know, I still can't seem to get my hands apart.
Pierre Elliott Trudeau was at the National Archives last week where he launched his new book, Memoirs. He also donated his public and private papers, said to be over 1 kilometre long. He electrified the crowd with vintage Trudeau.
Herodotus was more advanced than Homer, whose history was largely made of myths. But Thucydides was more advanced and a little more scientific than Herodotus.
And Trudeau went on to say that Thucydides had his faults as well. And he wasn't trying to knock Homer, but let's face it, Homer was no Herodotus. I must say, it's nice to have a politician back who speaks the language of the people. Sydney?
Yes. Lady Diana was upset this week when photos of her working out in a gym were printed in a London newspaper. She looked really fat.
Yeah, right. Right here.
Yeah, and that's really hard to get rid of that.
No matter how much you vomit.
That's right. Yes, it was reported the owner of the gym received $200,000 for the photos. We at this hour have received confidential photos of Kim Campbell kickstarting her exercise program. Like the British photographer, the guy who took these photos is also charging money, although thus far, all he has managed to get for his photos is postage and handling.
Well, last week was a busy one for Reform Party leader Preston Manning and his 52 newly elected members of Parliament. They gathered together for the very first time at the Park and Shag Motel in Calgary Centre. They started the get-together with a ceremony celebrating Canada's rich, multicultural background.
An Alberta beef.
Then they got down to business. 2 by 2, the newly elected MPs filed into a room for an audience with their leader. And then it was off to Ottawa to be sworn in as a Member of Parliament. Once in, Manning immediately launched a speaking tour in Toronto to prove that he could still rustle up support in any province outside of Alberta. Unfortunately, he was wrong.
As sure as winter.
You know, I spoke with Mr. Manning recently, and he's a big fan of my work, and he loves this show.
Mr. Manning, now that the election is over, will you appear on This Hour Has 22 Minutes?
Under no circumstances will I appear on This Hour Has 22 Minutes.
You know who I am? I'm J.B. Dixon.
I have heard of J.B. Dixon. I understand that he is a lousy journalist.
That's it.
First, Prime Minister Jean Chrétien wrote the all-time best-selling memoir of a Canadian politician, his megabook, From the Heart. And now, this week, just in time for the Christmas season, the Prime Minister has launched his first ever video cassette tape. The comedy stylings of Jean Chrétien. It's a laugh riot, says the Ottawa Citizen. If you only buy one video cassette this season, make sure it's this one. You'll laugh your whole off. Quick Fact Magazine. And now, this hour, in a television exclusive, brings you highlights from the comedy stylings of Jean Chrétien.
And he said to me, "You're a narrow-minded guy." Gee, I was mad. But no wonder why my handicap is high. So my answer was, "Mitch, don't be worried. I have not understood anything at all." I said, "Do you want a frank answer?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I don't know a goddamn thing about it."
Available from Giant Mart stores and all government bookstores. The video is retailing for $19.95, and it comes with its own bag o' laughs.
Lucien Bouchard, the leader of the Bloc Québécois, was in Ottawa last week to be sworn in as the official leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition.
With his right hand on the Bible, he swore allegiance to the Queen.
Canada's newest empire loyalist, Deef would be proud. And now, time for Parliamentary Outlook with J.B. Dixon.
Well, thanks a lot, Frank. As you know, it's been a very busy week around the House of Commons. 205 brand new members had to figure out how to function on Parliament Hill. So to make it a little easier on them, Jean Chrétien devised a time limit scavenger hunt. Now, the rules were very easy. Brand new MPs had just 6 hours to A, find their office. That one's a toughie. B, go directly to the parliamentary restaurant, order up a big plate of subsidized smoked salmon. They say it always tastes better when it's paid for by the people. Then they had to boogie on down to the subsidized barber, get yourself a shampoo, cut, and blow dry. You gotta look your best, so go to the parliamentary tailor. Get some of those free alterations you deserve. Then sprint to the travel agent. Give your brother-in-law one of those free 64 return flights that you're allowed to give away. Then enroll yourself and your family in therapy. Now this one's a must because it's piles of fun and it's paid for by the taxpayer. Then just take your time and mosey on back to the office and say to the secretary, "Honey, if a constituent calls, tell him I'm in a meeting." Well, that's it for the Parliamentary Outlook so far. Back to you.
Now here's Babe Bennett with her unique feminist perspective.
A professor of mathematics in New Brunswick says that if a girl gets asked to a guy's room, she ought to consider that an invitation to go all the way. Huh, he can't mean that. He's just kidding. He must be fooling around. Well, golly. In that case, maybe an invite to the library means you're going to get a pencil stuck in your ear. Maybe Merry Christmas means feel your breasts miss. I don't buy any of this stuff for a minute. On top of that, this guy says that a gal oughtn't to say anything if she gets raped in a guy's room. Only to ask for money. Kind of like a prostitute, I guess. See, this guy figures if you ever had sex before, getting raped oughtn't to be a problem. He says it's like a date. He calls it date rape. Ha! He must be goofing around. And this crazy doofus does the job on boys and men, too, saying they're so out of control and horny they can't help themselves. Well, that's a low-down, disgusting thing to say about one of my favorite sexes, the male sex. You know, I figure this professor's more like a Jerry Lewis type, like a nutty professor. Sometimes men can be so wise, and I think we overlook just how brilliant they are. And on the other hand, how far too few of them are having their balls ripped off by Dobermans. I'm just kidding. I'm just goofing around. I love men. They're great.
I'm standing here quite close to Mr. Conrad Black, who's going around the country flogging his new book, A Life in Progress. Now, let's face it, Mr. Black has bucks. He has big bucks. He has bucks beyond the computing capacity of most pocket calculators. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't impressed by that. But I'm a reporter, and I'm going to approach Mr. Black with a certain amount of professionalism. I will not grovel or fawn or otherwise embarrass myself. Money, prestige, and power mean nothing to me. I have integrity. It's God over mammon with me all the way. I am not one of those pathetic, soulless people who believe that money is the alpha and omega of our very existence. Mr. Black, I'm a reporter with This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Oh, golly. You've got a lot of money and...
You don't have to be in your knees.
I was just... Well, of course, I'm sorry. I'm
not
a reporter
accustomed
with...
to this much submission from the press.
Of course. It's just you have so much money and... I mean, could you give me some, or like give me a couple of shares in a paper route, or you know, just the two?
Every time I turn around, some baby boomer is going on and on and on about Generation X. Now, baby boomers, they love being baby boomers, but they can't handle the fact that my generation, our generation, don't have any names attached to it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not that we don't want to hear those endless stories about where you all were when JFK was shot, how you were sitting in your classroom, principal came in, made the announcement, teacher cried, all that, and we're really sorry y'all had to live through the Cuban Missile Crisis, but we didn't live through that stuff. We looked it over in grade 8, but we didn't live through it. See, we don't have any common denominators. There have been no defining moments of our generation. Okay, we all know where we were when River Phoenix died, but that was 2 weeks ago. It hardly counts. So the next time you turn on the TV, you see some baby boomer going on and on and on about Generation X, don't believe them. It's all lies. Baby boomers probably should be in bed.
The Minister of Wildlife met with a representative of the timberlands earlier this week.
The spokesmammal was upset with recent handling of wildlife issues, particularly the subclassing of wildlife into a minor portfolio. The minister is reported to be resting comfortably.
According to a Toronto doctor, all men are not created equal. He will soon start practicing a surgical technique that can increase the size of a man's penicular region up to 50%. The response south of the border was swift. Fearing a loss of jobs in the penis enlargement industry, a well-known Texas billionaire waded into the debate.
Canada?
At a huge gathering of supporters, he claimed, "You don't need to look north of the border if you want a bigger penis." He then went on to describe his own experience in the matter.
An Environics research poll indicates that 61% of Canadians believe that the media in this country have a soft left agenda. The producers of This Hour Has 22 Minutes have decided to address this situation. We've invited media pundits Stuart Steele and Stephen Steed to right this wrong.
Topic number 1, maternity leave.
Unfair to men. We all pay into the system, and let's face it, we pay more because it's men who make the really big bucks. So I say, maternity leave, okay, as long as we get World Series leave or Stanley Cup Finals leave. Homosexuals in the military.
Homosexuals in the military, I'm all for it, long as we use them as target practice. Hiring quotas.
I got a construction firm. I need a backhoe driver. You're telling me I gotta hire a physically challenged, lifestyle choice loving woman? Tell me another one. Leg hold traps.
Leg hold traps, leg hold traps. You set the trap, you hear the snap, you say, "Good God Almighty, I have arrived and I've got a dead animal to prove it." Subsidies to the arts. Only kidding, only kidding. Capital punishment.
Look what's going on in the world today. I mean, people who play by the rules, they're afraid for their lives. I got a daughter, so when you say hang him, I say how high and charge him for the rope. David Suzuki.
David Suzuki, and that self-righteous, schmermy, rubber boot, tree-hunking, sanctimonious, save the dolphins, claptrap coming out of his mouth, I say, use him as bait and pass me some tuna. Clack what sound? Pave it.
Or better yet, Clack what sound golf course. 4!
And that's the right answer.
Hello. Did your father ever call you by your first name or tell you to put the garbage out? Then you too can collect stuff and money like you never dreamed. Thanks to Dr. Mookie Owen's Super False Memory Workshop, I have a sporty car, a cottage by the lake, a jet ski, and a friend, I think.
Yes.
Yes, a friend. Dr. Mookie Owens will show you how to turn simple foods that you ate as a child, such as carrots, cabbage, and rutabaga, into childhood memories of trauma that can earn you cash, articles in magazines, even a TV movie of the week starring Valerie Bertinelli. It's true, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Sure, it's lonely without your family, but look at all this neat stuff.
Multi-slicer.
Multi-slicer.
Potato chipper.
Potato chipper.
Scales.
Scales. Barbecue. I thought I had a barbecue. Yes. That's Dr. Mookie Owen's Super False Memory Workshop. Just phone 1-800-JET-SKI. For more information, I have never been this happy or not happy. Happy in all my life.
Now this hour welcomes the unelected but very clean Marg Delahunty.
Hi, I'm Marg Delahunty. Listen, there's the Saturday morning Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then there is the Saturday morning Spanish Inquisition. I believe if anyone wanted to crack open their grade 10 history book, they'd see there was a lot of old violence on the go out there before they invented the picture tube. What the Mongol hordes got up to, my darling, would make the gratuitous violence on Beavis and Butthead look like quiet time on Hymn Sing. The rat, the thumbscrew, crucifixion, garroting, ever hear of them? Jesus, thanks be to God for violence on TV. I say, because if my crowd of galoots weren't kicked back with their mouths hanging open in awe, gawking at America's Most Wanted, well, I wouldn't want to be responsible for the kind of havoc that they'd wreak. When my little ones were little, I wouldn't buy them any toy weaponry. And they used to bite their toast into handguns. I came down off of the stairs one morning and Frank, my oldest Frank, was trying to bite a great big loaf of homemade bread into an Uzi. And for the love and honor of God, sure, if we have to watch the likes of Father Knows Best 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we'd be out there like Jeffrey Dahmer, boiling each other's heads up. And remember, as the Romans always said, bene leve, have a good wash.
And now our very own 6-time Weather Pride Award winner, Frank McMillan, with this hour's forecast. Frank?
And now, here's the weather pattern continuing in Canada. There is an L shape over in the Maritimes. There's also a long circle, sort of like a piece of string. There's the number 12 that's been down there for several days, and sort of some cloud-shaped shapes. There will also be the letter H over in the prairies, and some circly yellow things. On the west coast, a liney, pointy thing that's been there for, boy, several days. For tomorrow, a lot of cloudy things for most of the country. And on the weekend, you can look forward to the large letter H, some smaller L shapes, and the long, pointy, liney thing continues. Back to you.
Thank you, Frank. You know, Dr. Jack Kevorkian's in trouble again because of that suicide machine. You know, my uncle had a suicide machine when we were kids.
No.
Well, it was really just an old washing machine with a bunch of bottles tied onto it, and for 50 bucks, he'd jimmy it up to the ceiling and drop it on you.
Wow.
That's right. And for $5 extra, he'd do your laundry while you wait.
This just in. Following the continuing downsizing trend in publishing, the Reader's Digest Corporation announced today that they were condensing their staff.
And it was on this day in history, 1971, that semi-moist pet food made its debut in Canada. Happy birthday, semi-moist. You're quite a success story. If only we had gotten in on the ground floor of that one, eh, Frank?
I hear you, brother. And now, viewer response.
I really enjoy your show. It is the best show I have ever seen. Mind you, I have not seen that much television. In fact, it is the only television show I have ever seen. For you see, I am a space alien, sent from Mars, where our leader, Brian Mulrooney, sits and awaits the return of all his minions. All hail!
Thank you, and keep those cards and videos coming.
Well, that's the way we saw the world this week. I'm J.B. Dixon, reminding everybody, no matter what the situation, always ask for a warrant.
And I'm Sydney DeBisentwick saying, remember, more flies are caught with honey, but those sticky strips you get from Kmart are pretty good too.
Lady Margaret Thatcher's new book is out. I just finished it, and at the end it turns out she's a man.
You know, that is so disturbing, and it happens so frequently. Especially in England. I'm Molly Maguire. I'm glad to be back. I'm even glad to have a back. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, Ma, what a lovely night.
Oh, it's a nice night tonight.
Yeah, pink sky at night.
Sailor's delight.
Yeah, pink sky in the morning.
Sailors take warning.
Yeah. All the old sayings. Well, you go up with the rocket, you come down with the stick.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Like Nanny used to say, neighbor's head in the Santa Care bin, you'll be doing 5 to 10.
Yeah.
That's right. Like Mom used to say, little dog's head on the mantelpiece, short visit from your niece.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Granny's ghost at the door.
Yeah.
10 more years of being poor. The old ones are good.
Yes, and of course, don't sit on the cold concrete. You'll get a cold right up through.
No.
My, oh my.
I never believed that one growing up, but it's true.
Yeah. Oh. And I am living proof of that.
A jet ski and a friend, I think.
Yes.
Yes. A friend. A jet ski and a friend, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, friend.